Hi guys, welcome to session 15 of Marketing 101. My name is Ankit, and this is the marketing series where we cover the topic of marketing. So in our previous class, we have started with the consumer buying decision behavior, and in this class, we are going to continue with the same topic. Now, in our previous session, we have started with the factors which affect our consumer buying behavior. That what are the factors which affect our consumer when he's making that purchasing decision? And in this topic, and in this session, we will start with the topic of what are the different buying role a consumer behave in a purchasing decision. So, see, when a consumer is in the market for buying the product, know one thing that a marketer knows that there is no a single rule which a buyer plays in the market, and that role is not hard and fast in nature. So, according to the purchasing decisions, according to the purchasing situations, that behavior of the buyer or the role of the buyer, it keeps on changing. Basically, we can boil down to nine different rules which are played by our consumer when he is making that purchasing decision. So first and foremost, we have the role called as initiator. Now, as the name says, this is a role which is played by the consumer when he is initiating a buying decision. So he could be the first person who brings about the idea of buying a product. We'll take a very simple example. A parents who have never bought a laptop in their official life. So when they have a kid who is either going for higher education who is going through his college, so he will initiate the decision or he will initiate the process of buying a laptop. So then that student or that kid becomes the initiator in the family, that he is the first person who is bringing about the idea of buying the laptop. Then you have the influencer. Now, this is the role which is played by the consumer when they influence the buying decision. So, this decision can be directly influenced or indirectly influenced, but these are the individuals who influence what is being bought. So, parents in this case will play the role of influencer, that what kind of laptop will be bought, what will be the budget of the laptop, whether the laptop will be a new one or the old one. Then third role is the role of a gatekeeper. Now, who are the gatekeeper? So these individuals, they decide the flow of information. So according to the need of the individual, these people either they restrict the flow of information or they permit the flow of information. So a parent will decide what kind of movies a child will watch. The parents will decide what are the places the child is going to visit. What is the food a child will eat will be decided by the parents. So parents will are the gatekeeper of the information. The fourth role is the decider. Now, decider are the individuals who finally take that buying decisions, that what to buy, when to buy, from where they will buy. So either they can take the decision completely or partially. But these are the individuals who will finally determine that yes, either you need this product or you don't need this product. Then we have the role of a buyer. The role of the buyer and the role of the user we have also covered in our previous session. So we'll just go through them. Who is a buyer? These are the individuals, so this is a role when a consumer is actually going in the market, he is making the purchase and he's paying for it. Then he's playing the role of the buyer. So parents, when they buy a toy for their kids, so it is a parent who is buying that product. So parents are the buyer. But who is a user? These are the individuals who actually use the product. These are the individuals who actually get the benefit from the consumption process. So the kid for whom the parents are buying their toys, so the kid become the user and the parents become the buyer. Then you have the preparer. To understand the role of a preparer, understand the role of a cook in a family. Now it is the cook in the family who will convert those vegetables, those cereals, those staple items into the final consumption. So the individual who change the product to some usable form. So when parents buy a toy for their kids, so parents will make sure that the batteries are properly installed in the toy. The toy is appropriately charged. Then you have the role of a maintainer. So maintainer are those member of the society who either repair the product or they maintain the product so that the consumer can continue getting the benefit of the product which they have bought. So maintainer play a very important role. Then finally you have the disposer. See, every product which is being bought from the market, that product comes with an estimated life. So once that estimated life is over, it is the role of the disposer to dispose that item properly. These are the different roles which are played by an individual. Now, coming to the main topic of our today's session is the consumer decision making process. How is that process actually performed? See, when a consumer makes the decision making process, it is not an impulsive decision. So there are a lot of steps involved. So it's a step by step process. We will go through those steps in our next slides. And When we talk about consumer decision making process, why this process is important for marketers to know? Because a lot of time and effort is devoted by the consumer when they are making that purchasing decision. So you have as a marketer, as an organization, you have to respect those time and efforts, because if you are not providing them desired goods and services, then you will not be able to create a recurring customer. The idea is to create a customer who will again and again visit your organization. So when we talk about the decision making process, there are some decisions which involve high involvement of the individuals. So high involvement purchasing decisions are those decisions which require your huge involvement, high involvement in terms of your social efforts and economic efforts. So for example, when you buy a house, when you buy a car, now these decisions are high involvement decisions because first and foremost, they involve a huge amount of money. When you buy a house, it costs somewhere around 50, 60 lakh rupees to begin with. If you buy a car, it starts with 5 to 7 lakh rupees because their decisions are very heavy in their financial nature and they are also long term in nature. Contrary, we have the low involvement purchase decision. Now, this decision, they can be routine purchase decision. So buying a chocolate or buying a cold drink, you don't need to do a lot, you do not need to put a lot of effort in the decision making process, but still there are the same steps involved, but those steps are dialed down a bit. So from this high involvement and low involvement, we have the cognitive decisions and the emotive decisions. So when you buy a house or when you buy a car, so these decisions are very thought based. You have decided that yes, you want to buy a 2 BHK or you want to buy a 3 BHK or you want to buy a high rise apartment or you want to buy a house within your budget. So these decisions have a lot of thought behind them. Contrary, we have the feeling based decision. So when you want to buy a jewelry, now you do not decide from the beginning that what kind of jewelry you want to buy. You visit the jeweler, you look at the design, you look at the material, you look at the cost, and then you make a decision on that place. So these decisions are very feeling based decision. So if you buy a snack from the market, you do not decide from 2 or 3 months in advance that you want to buy a snack. So decision making process could be cognitive or it could be emotive. Now, finally, what are the steps which are involved in that consumer decision process? So basically, we can boil down to 5 steps in that consumer decision process. The first step is the problem recognition. Second is the information search. When you are done with the information search, then you will arrive at alternatives of your problems. And from those alternatives, you will finally take a purchase decision and action. And after you have made the purchase, you make some post purchase evaluation, whether you are satisfied or dissatisfied with the product. Now, let's go through these steps one by one. So first and foremost, we have the problem recognition. Now, problem recognition is the stage where you realize that there is a gap between where you want to be and where you are right now. So where you are right now is your actual state and where you want to be is your ideal state. So problem recognition is the step where customer realizes that there is a difference between these two states, and this gap will motivate him to finally take a decision to go into the market and search for the solutions. Once you have realized that yes, there is a gap between your actual state and ideal state, you will start looking for the information. Now, when you look for the information, what you are basically doing, you are gathering all the available and relevant information about your problem. Once a customer gather all the information, he realized that yes, there are alternative solutions to his problem. So, for example, if the problem is to commute between the house and the office, the customer will realize, okay, there is public transport, then there is two-wheeler, then there is four-wheeler. Within that two-wheeler, he can either go for an electric two-wheeler or a petrol-based two-wheeler. If he decide to go with four-wheeler, in four-wheeler also there is hatchback, there is sedan, there is compact XUV. So information search helps the consumer to get all those alternatives to his problems. And when he's searching for the information, those information could be gathered from the internal sources, that is your family members, your peer group, your friends, your social circle, or it could be from external sources. Now, external sources could be you using any search engine like Google, or you can go to the market and physically visit the shop to look for the product. So information can be gathered from the internal source and the external source. Now, what is the role of marketer in this particular stage? So the role of the marketer is to provide that relevant information to the consumer. Now, make sure that as a marketer, you provide him persuasive information and not manipulative information. That is, if you have realized that this is the problem a consumer faces, then your role as a marketer is to provide him the relevant information. After the information has been gathered from the different sources, the consumer realize that he has a lot of alternatives. So what he will do, he will list down all the alternatives, and then the evaluation of alternatives start, because he cannot buy all the alternatives. He has to bring down those alternatives to one. So then he starts to evaluate these alternatives. So in this evaluation of alternative steps, what a consumer does, he develop a set of evaluation criteria. Now, what are evaluation criteria? Suppose you are buying a car. So when you buy a car, or when you decide to buy a car, you look for a lot of criteria. How is the budget of the car? How is the mileage of the car? What are the colors of the car? What is the waiting time for the car? The interior design, the interior space. So these criteria can be based on the objective fact. So what I have listed is the objective facts, because you can check them out. And then there is subjective impression. So how a consumer feel about the brand of the car, how a consumer feel about his parking situation, the in the place where he lives. So this evaluation criteria should be objective facts or subjective impression. Now, what role a marketer can play in this stage is to provide all the important attributes to the consumer. The information which a marketer provides should appeal to the those attributes, those criteria which are the most relevant for the consumer. So if a consumer decides that okay, he will increase the budget of the car a bit, if the features are also provided with the car increase. So the role of the marketer is to tell the consumer all the features, extra features which a consumer is going to get if he or she increases his or her budget a little bit. The fourth stage of this consumer buying decision process is that once you have evaluated all the alternatives, then you will bring down or boil down all those alternatives to a final decision. That is, you are ready to buy the product. That is, the act of making the purchase is done. So, what a marketer can do in this stage? The role of the marketer is to smooth the process of purchasing. That is, if the consumer does not have the proper amount of money, then marketer can finance the product for him, or the marketer can provide home delivery, or the installation process could be sorted out. So the role of the marketer is to basically smooth the process of purchasing. And finally, we have the post-purchase evaluation. Now, this is the stage where a consumer arrives after he has purchased the decision, after he has purchased the product, and he has used the product for a significant amount of time. Now, once the consumer have used the product, the consumer can be satisfied or dissatisfied. So, what do you mean by the consumer is satisfied? Remember that gap between our actual stage and the ideal stage. Now, if that gap is reduced, the consumer can be said that he is satisfied with the product. So, if the product which the consumer has bought meet the expectation of the consumer, then you can say the consumer is satisfied with the product. Now, it may also happen that consumer is dissatisfied with the product. Now, dissatisfaction comes from the stage of cognitive dissonance. Now, what is cognitive dissonance? I'm sure this would have happened with you also, that once you have made the purchase and you show this product to your family or to your friends, they will always point out something, that why did you buy this brand, or how much did you pay for it? You have paid more than the market value. So this is the stage where consumer might realize that he has not made the right decision. So he will look for the additional information. What a marketer can do to reduce the dissatisfaction is to provide him supportive information, that our product also provide you all those features. All you have to do is then give him the steps. The idea behind to reduce the dissatisfaction is to provide a positive marketing communication, to make the consumer realize that no, he has not made the wrong decision. Going with your brand and buying your product is the right decision the consumer could have made. With this, we end our topic of Marketing 101. And this is the last video of this series. I hope you like this series. And as I've said in the beginning of this Marketing 101 series, that all those students, whether they are in their 11th class or 12th class, or they are doing their college examination, this video will be relevant for all the students who are pursuing this marketing subject. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you guys are interested in learning macroeconomics, then I have a separate playlist for that. You can check it out. Thank you so much for watching.